The words drifted over the cubicle wall. They were casual, almost dismissive. My boss was on a call. "Just put it in ChatGPT," he said. "It'll do a decent enough job for that draft." My heart did a strange little flip. It wasn't a direct threat, not yet. But the implication was clear. A task that once landed on my desk, a task that formed part of my role, was now being outsourced. Outsourced not to another person or another department, but to an algorithm. The air in the office suddenly felt a little colder, a little less certain. I tried to focus back on my screen, but the words echoed. For weeks, an undercurrent of unease had been palpable in our department. Whispers about restructuring and efficiency drives had become common. We all saw the news. We knew about the rapid advancements in artificial intelligence. ChatGPT in particular had been a marvel, a curiosity. Now it felt like a silent competitor. The initial fascination was morphing into a quiet dread for many of us. We joked about robots taking over, but it was always a distant, abstract idea. Hearing my boss so casually delegate my work to AI made it terrifyingly real, an immediate presence in our daily lives. It was a stark reminder that change was not just coming, it was already here. The workplace atmosphere, once collaborative and bustling, began to shift subtly. Meetings became more guarded. People were less willing to share their projects, perhaps fearing their tasks might be next on the AI chopping block. There was a new, unspoken tension. You could see it in the forced smiles and the way eyes darted around during company-wide announcements. We were all wondering the same thing. Who would be deemed essential? Whose skills were unique enough to withstand this new wave of automation? The camaraderie we once shared was being eroded by a shared, unspoken anxiety about our futures in this evolving landscape. My initial reaction was a complicated mix of disbelief and a growing sense of vulnerability. I had always prided myself on my writing and research skills. These were human attributes, I believed. They required nuance, understanding, and creativity. To think that a machine could replicate or even approximate this work was deeply unsettling. It wasn't just about the potential loss of a job. It was about the perceived devaluation of my skills I had spent years honing. The casual nature of my boss's comments suggested this wasn't a major strategic shift discussed in boardrooms. It was becoming an everyday tool, easily adopted, easily replacing. That single overheard sentence sent me down a rabbit hole of research. I needed to understand what we were facing. The statistics I found were sobering. Reports from Exploding Topics indicated that nearly 24% of U.S. companies had already replaced workers with tools like ChatGPT. In May 2023 alone, almost 4,000 job losses in the U.S. were directly linked to AI. This wasn't some distant future scenario, it was happening now. My personal anxiety began to feel less like an overreaction and more like a rational response to a rapidly changing economic reality. The data painted a stark picture of displacement already underway, a quiet revolution transforming workplaces. The emotional impact was significant. Job insecurity gnawed at me. Sleep became more elusive. Every new project assigned felt like a temporary reprieve rather than a sign of continued value. I started to second-guess my contributions. Was my work truly indispensable? Or was I too becoming a task that could simply be put into ChatGPT? This constant undercurrent of stress affected my focus and my overall well-being. Forbes highlighted that job loss due to AI can lead to increased distress, depression, and lower self-esteem. I could feel the tendrils of these emotions beginning to take root, casting a shadow over my days. The feeling of being replaceable by an algorithm is profoundly demoralizing. For years we are told to build skills, gain experience, and become experts in our fields. Suddenly, a new technology emerges that can perform many of these tasks, often faster and cheaper. It makes you question the very nature of work and value. I learned that I wasn't alone in this fear. Exploding Topics also noted that 30% of workers worried their job would be replaced by AI by 2025. This shared anxiety, while offering a strange sort of comfort, also underscored the magnitude of the challenge we collectively faced. It was a widespread concern, a creeping chill felt by many. The workplace environment continued its subtle decay. Transparency was a casualty. Only 32% of employees, according to one study, felt their company was being open about its use of AI. This lack of communication bred suspicion and rumors. Some colleagues started using AI tools covertly, perhaps to keep up, while others felt a sense of fraudulence as if they were cheating. The once clear lines of productivity and skill were becoming blurred. The sense of a level playing field, or at least a human one, was rapidly disappearing, replaced by an opaque technological arms race for relevance. This secrecy only amplified the existing anxieties. My personal experience, I realized, was a microcosm of a much larger, global shift. The implications of AI in the workforce were vast and multifaceted. Goldman Sachs estimated in 2023 that generative AI could expose 300 million full-time jobs to automation globally. This wasn't just about a few roles here and there. It was about a significant portion of the entire global employment landscape potentially being reshaped. The International Monetary Fund echoed this sentiment, stating that almost 40% of global employment is exposed to AI. These numbers were staggering, far beyond what I had initially imagined when I first heard my boss's casual remark about ChatGPT. Specific sectors are, of course, more vulnerable than others. Forbes pointed out that lower-wage occupations like customer service, administrative support, and retail face high risks. Office support, customer service, and food services are expected to see the most significant job reductions. Projections suggested demand for clerks could drop by 1.6 million positions, retail workers by 830,000, and administrative assistants by 710,000. These aren't just abstract figures, they represent millions of individuals whose livelihoods are under threat. Even highly skilled roles like software engineering are not immune, with some experts predicting AI could write the vast majority of code in the near future. The scale of this transformation is predicted to be immense. McKinsey reported that by 2030, generative AI could take over tasks that currently make up 30% of work hours across the US economy. Imagine 1/3 of all the work being done today potentially being automated. This doesn't necessarily mean 1/3 of jobs disappear overnight, but it certainly implies a massive restructuring of how work is done and what skills are valued. The Brookings Institution found that over 30% of workers could see half of their tasks disrupted. This level of change is something few of us have experienced in our lifetimes, a fundamental reordering of economic activity. The economic and social consequences are also deeply concerning. Employees in lower-paying positions face a disproportionately higher risk, up to 14 times higher, of becoming obsolete compared to those in the highest-paying jobs, according to Forbes. This exacerbates existing inequalities. Furthermore, women are reportedly 50% more likely than men to need to change occupations due to AI. Displaced workers often face significant income reductions and long-term earning losses. The ripple effects extend beyond just employment, touching upon social stability, mental health, and the very fabric of our communities, creating a future filled with both promise and profound challenges. The day the official email about departmental restructuring arrived, it wasn't a complete shock. The signs had been there, from that overheard comment to the hushed conversations and the increasing reliance on automated reports. My role, along with several others, was being phased out due to new technological efficiencies. The corporate jargon did little to soften the blow. The personal experience of job loss, directly attributed to AI's capabilities, was a harsh confirmation of the trends I had been reading about. It was no longer an abstract statistic. It was my reality, a turning point demanding immediate adaptation. The broader implications of this AI-driven job market are immense. We are facing a future where continuous learning and reskilling are not just advisable but essential for survival. Exploding Topics suggests that 120 million workers globally will need retraining over the next 3 years due to AI changing business demands. This is a colossal undertaking requiring significant investment from individuals, companies, and governments. The key will be identifying the skills that complement AI rather than compete with it. Roles that require critical thinking, complex problem-solving, emotional intelligence, and creativity, areas where human capabilities still hold a distinct advantage. While the narrative often focuses on job displacement, it's also true that AI is expected to create new roles. The World Economic Forum has highlighted that AI and machine learning specialist is projected to be the profession with the largest net job growth globally between 2023 and 2027. About 25.6% of organizations actually expect AI to create jobs. The challenge lies in ensuring that the workforce is prepared for these new opportunities and that the transition is as smooth and equitable as possible. This requires proactive educational reforms and accessible retraining programs, ensuring no one is left behind in this technological wave. Ultimately, adapting to an AI-infused future requires more than just individual upskilling. It demands a societal conversation about the role of work, the distribution of wealth generated by AI, and the ethical considerations of widespread automation. As we stand on the cusp of what many call the Fourth Industrial Revolution, we must thoughtfully navigate these changes. The year 2025 is seen by some as pivotal, when AI may shift from merely augmenting jobs to actively replacing them. Preparing for this requires foresight, investment in human capital, and a commitment to building a future where technology serves humanity, not the other way around. The path forward is uncertain, but it is one we must shape actively.